Welcome back to Welsh Miniature Board Gamer, and today I'm going to do an unboxing and review of the Oathmark Human Infantry box set. So in this box you get 30 multi-part hard plastic 28mm figures. So very much like the Frostgrave boxes, etc., apart from you get a few extra miniatures compared to the Frostgrave box. So as you can see, there's some nice cover art on this. And yeah, it's for the system that North Star Miniatures has put out, Oathmark. But I haven't actually played that because it's a rank and flank game. So I don't really play sort of those, mass battle games. But you can also break them down and use them individually, like we do with Frostgrave or any of those other games that we skirmish games that you might want to play them with. So there are a bunch of screws. There are a bunch of sprues in here. It also comes on square bases, obviously, because it is a mass battle game. So the sprues, there are 6 sprues. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And they're all identical, so we don't have to show you all of the same sprues. So first of all, what we got on here. So we got like hand weapons, and we've also got 10 heads for the miniatures. You can only see 9 there, but there's another one. So we have 5 bodies on each sprue, with 5 shield arms for the 5 shields which are in this box. Then we have some spears. We have some arms holding arrows, which is pretty interesting because often we don't. They actually do have arrows in their hands. And we also have 5 bows. So we got arms for them all to be armed with spears, all to be armed with hand weapons, or all to be armed with bows, which is brilliant. And then on the right here, you can see this is the command sprue. So it's got the sort of commander's head, a bunch of swords, which are a bit fancier, and the standard bearer. So all in all, looking at them on the sprue, they look really quite good. So let's have a look at what they might look like once they're painted up, and my thoughts on them. So this is the first one that I have put together and painted up. I quite like him. He looks pretty good. I'm going for this black and a yellow colour scheme. And yeah, I think he came out pretty good. I think the paint job was nice. I like it. And yeah. So, my thoughts on the actual miniatures. They're nice. They're really quite nice. They're not as good as the Frostgrave miniatures, but then you get a few extra than you do in the Frostgrave box. And their heads are rather cartoonishly large, as you can see with this young gentleman with his big beard. They are quite melon-like heads, some of them. Now, some people do have larger heads than other people, so, I'm not going to judge. But they do have large heads. If you look at his shoulders compared to his head is massive. But yeah, no, apart from that, I think they really are quite nice and quite high quality. Not quite the quality of Frostgrave miniatures, say the Barbarians one, which I looked up previously, and that was really good quality. But it's good, it's good enough for me anyway. I have been painting miniatures for many a year, and maybe even more years than some of you have been born, which is quite worrying. So I have dealt with miniatures which are maybe not to the highest quality, because back in those days, a lot of the miniatures weren't to the highest quality. So maybe I am more, I'm not so critical on sometimes on miniatures that aren't that great a quality. Alright, so this guy, actually that's what I'm going back to that thought. That's why I get the feel of these. These are very old school looking miniatures. And that's why I can't actually knock them too bad, because I kind of like them. Alright, so this guy I painted up more as a brigand or a thief, bandit type, so I painted up in darker colours, etc. And as you can see, that works too. You know, you can paint them up individually and they look pretty nice. I like this guy's droopy face. He's got this very sort of deputy dog look about him, which I like. Now, as you can see, you might see some mold lines on the head. Now, I didn't remove any mold lines so that you could see them when I was done, so they do show up a bit more if you don't remove them, which I specifically didn't do in order to show you where they were and how pronounced they are. So as you can see, running down the side of the head and of course across the head, which they always do if you're going to have them on the head, they seem to just wrap around the heads. So that's my only really minor gripe about them, is there are pretty bad mold lines on them. So as size comparison, he is, I would say, perfectly fine with a Frostgrave or a Ghost Archipelago miniature. They are, I would say, pretty much spot on, which you'd imagine, seeing that they both come from different games systems, but from the same manufacturer. So yeah, the goblins from the Oathmark, yeah, I think that's about right. You know, the goblin is on a bigger base, so I'm trying to stoop him down a little bit, but yeah, I think that looks perfectly fine for goblin sizes. So then the Oathmark dwarf. Okay, yeah, I think that seems about right. He's shorter, but he's not actually that much shorter, but it gives the illusion that he is shorter. So, you know, that works because that's what we want. The illusion. We don't really care if he isn't that much shorter, as long as he looks like he's in proportion for a dwarf. So my overall thoughts on these are, yeah, they're good. They're not quite as high a quality as the Frostgrave miniatures, but they are, you do get a few extra. So if you want to bulk up your, you know, your miniatures, I think this is a good probably way to go. So that's it for now. I'm going to be wishing you goodbye, and it's goodbye from me, a Welsh miniature board gamer.